The hegemony had calculated everything down to the last decimal. Their quantum computers spanning entire moons had run the simulation 847 billion times. The conclusion was always the same. Humanity would be extinct within 72 standard hours of the first strike. Admiral Kethra of the Dominion fleet adjusted his ceremonial crest as he watched the human homeworld grow larger on the view screen. Earth, such a primitive name for a backwater planet. The blue marble hung in space, seemingly defenseless, its pathetic defense satellites already neutralized by their opening salvo. "Status report," Kethra commanded, his 4 arms manipulating the command interface with practiced efficiency. "All human military installations have been vaporized, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "Their fleets are scattered and in retreat. The orbital bombardment platforms are in position. We can commence planetary sterilization on your command." Kethra's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. The humans had lasted longer than the Zalathi, nearly 6 months instead of 3, but the outcome was inevitable. The hegemony had conquered 847 species across the galaxy. Humanity would be number 848. "Begin the cleansing," he ordered. The bombardment commenced with ruthless precision. Particle beams lanced down from orbit, turning cities into glass. Fusion bombs cracked continental shelves. The humans' desperate radio transmissions filled the void, screams, prayers, final messages to loved ones. But then something unexpected happened. The bombardment stopped working. "Admiral," the tactical officer's voice carried a tremor of confusion. "Our weapons are having no effect." On the view screen, the areas they had just sterilized were healing. Cities rebuilt themselves in reverse time-lapse, mountains reformed, even the dead were somehow rising and resuming their lives, as if nothing had happened. "Impossible," Kethra snarled. "Run a full diagnostic on all systems." "Sir, our weapons are functioning perfectly. The energy is reaching the planet's surface, but it's being negated somehow." Before Kethra could respond, every screen in the fleet simultaneously displayed the same image: a human face. Middle-aged, unremarkable by human standards, wearing what appeared to be a simple laboratory coat. The human smiled, an expression that Kethra had learned to associate with prey, species' final moments of delusion. "Hello," the human said, his voice somehow reaching every ship in the fleet despite all communication channels being secured. "My name is Dr. Marcus Chen. I suppose you're wondering why your genocide isn't working as planned?" Kethra gestured frantically at his communications officer, who could only shake his head helplessly. They had no control over their own systems. "You see," Dr. Chen continued, "you made one critical error in your calculations. You assumed we were bound by the same rules as everyone else. But humanity has this peculiar trait. When faced with extinction, we don't just fight harder. We change the game entirely." The view shifted, showing what appeared to be a massive underground facility carved from living rock. Humans in white coats moved purposefully between incomprehensible machines that hummed with barely contained energy. "For the past year, while you were positioning your fleets and preparing your inevitable victory, we've been working on something special. We call it the temporal negation field. Simply put, we've learned to say no to causality itself." Kethra's blood ran cold. Temporal manipulation was theoretically possible, but required energy outputs equivalent to stellar cores. No species had ever achieved practical application. Every bomb you drop, every beam you fire, every life you take, we simply undo it. Not through healing or reconstruction, but by making it never have happened in the first place. Your actions are being negated at the quantum level. The scene changed again, showing human ships emerging from what looked like folded space itself. They were unlike anything in the hegemony's databases. Sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around their hulls, crackling with energies that made the fleet's sensors scream warnings. "But that's just defensive application," Dr. Chen said, his smile never wavering. "We've also been working on offensive capabilities. You wanted to erase humanity from existence? Allow us to return the favor." The first human ship opened fire, and Kethra watched in horror as one of his dreadnoughts simply wasn't. Not destroyed, not vaporized, It had never existed. The crew's screams cut off mid-transmission as they were erased from the timeline itself. "Admiral," his tactical officer shouted, "they're not just destroying our ships, they're removing them from history. Our databases are updating in real time. According to our records, the Vengeance of Kayla was never built." More human vessels emerged, each one unleashing weapons that rewrote reality itself. Fleets that had taken centuries to construct were being edited out of existence with surgical precision. But the humans weren't stopping there. "You've conquered 847 species," Dr. Chen's voice continued as the slaughter, or rather, the unmaking, continued around them. "We've decided that was rather rude of you." On his personal communicator, Kethra received reports that defied comprehension. The hegemony's outer territories were free. Species that had been enslaved for millennia were suddenly broadcasting their independence. Historical records were changing. The great conquests that had built the hegemony's power were being systematically undone. "Please understand," Dr. Chen said, "we take no pleasure in this, but you forced our hand. You see, humanity has one rule above all others. Nobody exterminates us without consequences, and we've just rewritten the fundamental laws of the universe to enforce that rule." Kethra's command ship shuddered as reality warped around it. He could feel himself becoming less. His certainty about his own existence wavered. "We're giving you one chance," the human continued. "Withdraw. Immediately. Return to your home system and contemplate what you've learned here. Because if you ever threaten humanity again, we won't just undo your fleets or your conquests." The final words echoed across the void with terrible finality. "We'll undo your entire species, and make it so you never existed to threaten anyone." The surviving hegemony ships, what few remained, fled into hyperspace without waiting for orders. They carried with them a new understanding. Humanity didn't just fight wars. They rewrote the very concept of what war could be. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen removed his glasses and rubbed his tired eyes. The temporal negation field powered down with a subsonic hum that shook dust from the laboratory walls. "Status report," he asked his team. "Complete success, sir. The hegemony fleet is gone, their conquered territories are free, and our timeline integrity remains stable." Dr. Chen nodded and walked to the viewing port overlooking the restored cities of Earth. Somewhere out there, the galaxy's greatest military power was learning a hard lesson about the dangers of threatening humanity. They had tried to erase humanity from existence. Instead, they had taught humans to erase anything they chose from existence itself. The rules of war would never be the same,